You reach the mic in there? Right. Right there.
Zena,
Mike?
did you
Who's
check up
that?
on a bunch of those things and
Who's
decide
that?
on Venus?
Who's scratching your head?
Well, the guy in town here carries them, eh?
I see. I don't know what they got.
Andy
RC
Doris.
and they got another called JTC.
See Andy Doris?
Look at that. The panel. The one that panel.
We got a real deal on
What
all
did
our
you say
stuff.
about it?
One panel?
I don't know what
I
he's
don't know,
saying.
what do you want?
He wants his panel, he says.
I want the panel.
Oh,
wants
he
to-
calls the microphone a piano.
Oh,
I want the panel.
well, give it to him, Mom.
No, it makes too much noise when you're
Hi,
handling
Freddie.
Let him see on there.
Hi, Freddie.
Hi, you're
it. I got it on.
Yeah, I know.
I don't look
Let
like
him
Freddie,
come.
does he?
Let him come across.
Not my
Fred? Isn't that your name? Isn't that you?
If
in
you
there?
want to talk, Mike, will you sing a song for us?
Wait.
Which one? Which song?
Goody cat.
Okay, Goldilocks, you gotta go
We'll give him the
over
microphone.
here
That's what he wants.
in front.
Oh, he can stand right there.
Yeah, and Mom will spot the camera for you. And you hold that. You sing a song, okay?
Okay.
Okay, sing it.
When
Goldilocks went to the
the
what is
the boat I see, the ocean's big and far.
a boat that was tiny?
That's the star.
She counted them.
1, 2, 3.
3 bowls of porridge?
Yeah, pretty good.
That's great.
You were on TV, Mike.
Yeah.
I got the panel. Mike got the panel.
Yeah, you was
Yeah.
in there. Now you're not there anymore. There you are.
Where's the mic? Where's the mic? Where's the Michael? Where's the Michael? Where's he?
Are you taping any of this?
Where's the kids? Where's Michael? Where's
Where's
he?
Michael?
No.
There you are,
There's
Michael.
Mike, watching Mike on TV.
There's Mike watching.
Two heads, back to back. Okay, Mike. Okay, let's put the microphone up here. Let go. No, thank you. No, it makes too much noise.
So that tapes right onto the film too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, isn't that something?
Everything we're saying. I
No,
guess.
that's fantastic, isn't it?
That they can do that
Yeah, they can do that.
and produce it so that you can.
That's so they got that fast tape for these ball games and stuff. That, you know,
Yeah.
and that gets out to the
If
public.
you want to watch a 2 o'clock movie, but you just don't want to stay up and watch it, you know, in the early morning, you can set this machine up. It'll come on at 2 o'clock. You can program everything without even flipping the TV on. It just brings it through the aerial,
Isn't that
and then
something?
it will shut itself off. You know, after the end of it.
Do we have to turn your TV on?
You know, it'll turn the machine on itself. You know, and you preset it for if you want it for 2 hours or 3 hours. And if you can set it for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, like if you're going away for a weekend and you want the Sunday special or something.
Listen to that something. And then also they,
Michael,
you
Michael, Michael, what are you
can
doing there
tune
now?
it. Can't you do something like, for 8-hour period, you can do 2 different songs at different time, I mean, a song plays or something, or a football game or
Well,
something?
if you want to watch a football game on Channel 7 and the movie on Channel 4, you can watch the movie on Channel 4 and tape the one on Channel 7. Tape the football game while you watch the movie, or vice versa.
Something else. It really is.
Well, how much does a machine like this cost?
Well, that one there
In
is
Canada,
$1,500.
it's 1,500 and the camera's 400.
Yeah. Well, that's,
You can buy a color camera though
For
for
15.
1,500. So for 3,000 bucks, you could be set up with color camera. Hey, get away from there.
Is this a tape that you had taped on last night?
No, this is the Muppet Show with the kids.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What you taped last night with the kids.
Yeah.
you need very little light either, notice. I mean, you don't have any
Yeah, it's
bright floodlights or anything, you know?
yeah.
That's good too. You know?
They say that the
Why
camera
don't you
will
put it
adapt to
on
really just about any kind of lighting condition.
Well, we should have brought
better take 3 or 4.
Here, I'll do it now.
Okay, just a second.
We'll learn it first to welcome everybody.
I have no
Or
Zoom.
just push.
I have no Zoom.
No Zoom, eh?
Either that, either you have to walk up.
Okay, hi, I'd like to welcome everyone to the 5th annual Frederick Wesley Hillyer Family Reunion.
Yay!
Come on in.
Okay.
Hi, Richard.
Look at the camera, Richard.
And this is Richard.
Hi,
With the
Fred.
high
Nice
diver
to
board.
see you here.
This is the oldest grandson at the reunion today.
It's about the next one. Here's here.
And he's the next oldest, he's gonna be 8 in
Hi,
October.
Devin.
And then we'll
Look
have
at the
another
camera,
trophy.
Fred.
And young Devin.
And, hi, turn
Hi,
around.
In the water.
Look at the camera there, Jim.
Look at the camera, Devin.
Hi, Mary.
That's a boy.
This guy,
Here we are.
this is Bob.
This is Bobby. This is Mary. Turn around and look at the camera, Mary. Gee. Now, next year, you're going to let us see how
And
much
this is
bigger you
Mike.
are.
Mikey's not
Okay,
shy.
back into the kitchen.
I mean, he can
Come
hear.
on, Jesse.
Okay, and here's Michael. Did you get it on?
Yeah.
Come on, Jeffrey. Rob.
Here we go. It's
Trevor,
Nora.
come on. Here's Bobby. Nora. And
Are you
camera
There. Come on, Trev.
come on, Trevor.
Shake your hand. Let me see your hand.
Come on, Jeffrey.
Look at Kissy. Look it over here.
Here's yourself on TV.
Picture. Look at Kissy on TV. Look at Kissy.
Someone's reading way better. Hi, Jesse. Come look on TV.
Come this way. Come see Grandpa. See, come with Grandpa.
Yeah.
Come here.
Well,
Come
you
here.
did
You can see
45
yourself on
times.
TV. Come stand up on my knee and you can see yourself on TV. Look.
Good morning.
Oh, look at. Let's see Trevor on TV.
Yeah.
Look at Trevor. Mary, I want to see Trevor. Look
You
at.
wave.
Wave
Wave at
to
him.
Trevor.
Hi,
Hi, Trevor.
boy.
That neat?
And here comes Brock.
Hi, all right, I'm gone.
Why brought that over there,
Hi, Brock. He's getting his face washed.
huh? Yeah, he's on TV with his face dirty.
Jim, get over there and with your baby and Mary Ann is next on this item.
You didn't get fluky, did you?
Mary Ann.
Did we get Tommy?
Becky.
Did we get
I
Tommy?
get Becky.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we don't want that.
Becky here.
There's a nice little girl.
Daddy's got the best feet. Here's Cookie, the only dog.
Yeah, that's the only dog.
Only pet we
The
got.
only dog at the reunion.
Yeah, it's a good dog.
Have we met?
Number 2 son?
We met before?
Number 2 son?
Oh. I want to know what this says. It says world's greatest crew chief, but I want to know where you got it and what it's about.
You have to ask Michael. Michael bought it for me.
Michael, what's it about?
That was for Father's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a baby for you. I think this one's yours.
Okay.
And she might not look heavy, but she is.
This is Patricia.
Yeah. Where's Patricia? Patricia with her thumb. Where's your blanket? She doesn't even look up front of her. She needs her blanket. All right, John. Or John. Come on.
Kiss again. I don't like her lipstick.
Okay.
Does that hurt the back?
John,
Yeah.
are we driving or walking?
Walk.
Okay, let's
Go.
Well, John, another
Ready?
family reunion.
Yeah.
Tommy,
Good one,
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
Bobby, you look
Come on,
after
Mary,
Tom,
you
will you,
stop
Mary
being
Ann?
camera hog.
Tommy,
Okay.
Bobby,
Kiss.
Bobby, come.
Look, we gotta make it.
Okay,
next family.
Norman, just right here. Yeah.
Yeah, just quick so we can turn it.
Okay. Hello, everybody in the Hillyer, Hadley, whoever you are. We've got Grandma Hadley here, and she's going to tell us a few things tonight about her life, so that in future years everybody will be able to know what Grandma looked like and what she sounds like, and a little bit about her life. And we're sure happy to have her here tonight. And we're going to start out, Grandma. Have you got a big smile for all your descendants? Grandma was 88 in January, and she sure doesn't look it. Grandma, where were you born?
I was born in Berlin, Michigan, 7 miles from Grand Rapids, Michigan,
Do you know what year?
in 1893.
What were your father and mother's names?
Dad's name was John DeForest Russell.
And your mother's?
Martha Mariah Hersey.
Oh, that's two pretty same names. Do you remember anything about your father, what he looked like, or how old he was when you last knew him?
Oh, he was just about the coloring of art, and the same kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And Mother was short, with very nice curly hair, kind of a light brown. A light brown.
Were they short or tall?
Mother was short, and Dad was a medium-sized man.
He must have been good looking if he looked like Art.
Yes, I think so.
And Art was your oldest son, right?
Yes, Art was my oldest son.
Do you remember what your dad did for a living?
He was a market gardener near Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they had 2 wagons on the road every other day delivering the vegetables.
Must have been a lot of work for them both.
Well, they had to work one day at home getting the vegetables ready, and the next day they had to take each a separate wagon and take it to town.
I remember you told me once one of the reasons why that marriage ended in divorce.
Drinking.
Uh-huh. And how many children were there in the family?
There was 6, 3 boys and 3 girls.
What was the oldest boy?
His name was Samuel DeForest Russell.
And can you tell me the rest of them from the oldest to the youngest?
John DeForest, John Munson Russell, and then myself, Odessa Russell. And next was my sister Elizabeth.
Lillian.
Elizabeth Russell. And the last one was, the next one was Proctor Russell, boy. And the last one was a girl, Dorothy.
Well, did the family that Lillian was adopted into change her name?
Yes. Yes, they did. I don't know how many of them changed their name.
Well, Proctor.
Oh, Proctor did. Proctor, he's called George now.
And I remember you telling me that after you came to Canada, that Uncle Sam got ill with the flu?
Yes, he came up to get me. I was 15 when I came to Canada with Grandma Kitson, the lady that adopted me. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, was when she adopted me, because she brought up 10 children of her own in the Christian religion, and she had 4 of us besides to come and help her. And then when we had an automobile accident, and when she was better after that accident, she wanted to come out to Manitoba where the rest of her children were living, and she brought me with her.
Tell me about that accident.
Well, she and I hitched up the horse and buggy and started out for the fair. And when we got about 2/3 of the way to the fair, we were meeting an automobile, and the automobile, the horse stopped dead still, scared stiff. And of course, the man in the car didn't know that the horse was scared, and he broke away from the buggy and threw us out, and broke away from the buggy and ran all the way to town. Somebody caught him, brought him home, but Grandma got a broken shoulder. So this man with the car said he would never drive another car if it ever caused an accident with a horse. But he said that horse stood stock still. I didn't know he was scared. So he come out to our place from Petoskey, Michigan, and he brought us nice little things for presents, and followed Grandma up until she was out of bed over her broken shoulder.
You told me that he gave you the first box of chocolates you ever had.
Yes, that's the first one I ever had. I was about 14, I guess. And
then you came up to live in Canada with Grandma Kitson and her family, and you went to school, right?
she didn't bring her family with her. She just brought me with her. And the family came afterwards. It was running a farm.
She said something about how you treated her one time. What was that?
She said I treated her better than any of her own children had ever done.
Well, that's kind of a nice compliment. Did you go to work?
I went to school the first year. They jumped a grade on me, and I was in grade 6. And they jumped to grade 8. And, of course, I didn't learn very much. And then I stopped and went to work for housework to some of Grandma's sisters.
Grandma Kitson's sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you attended church where?
I attended church the first night I arrived home with Grandma home. First night of my adoption, I went to church, and
and you were a churchgoer all your life, weren't you?
Oh yes, she brought her family up churchgoers, and she always read the Bible every day, every morning out loud, and we all kneeled in prayer around it. And
what church was that?
Well, I couldn't tell you. Well, it was Church of Christ, the same as we went into when we went to Manitoba.
What? How did you meet Grandpa, or my dad?
I met him in Sunday school.
And what was he doing at the time?
Well, he was working in a grain elevator in Portage la Prairie.
And he was sort of orphaned as well, wasn't he?
Yes, his dad had come west in a boxcar with 3 of his children. He left the baby with his grandmother back in Ontario.
And his mother had died?
Yes, the mother had died.
So actually he was raised by his father?
Yes, he was raised by his father and his older sister and a brother. He was 8 years old when he came to the Manitoba.
And so when were you married?
Oh, now, when were we married? were married in the 1st of July. When was our wedding day? It was 1st of July.
1914.
And 19 what?
14.
14.
Yeah. And then you moved to the farm shortly after, right?
Yes, his dad coaxed him out to the farm to help him take off the crop. And he says, I'll give you a quarter section all equipped and build you a new house in the spring. But that just didn't all happen. But we went and lived in the house that was there. And from then on, he got one thing and another, like Dad wanted a new barn, and then he wanted a new granary. Then he wanted a new, what was it he wanted next?
Car?
A new car.
Yeah.
And he kept telling me, oh, you'll get your new house all right. But I didn't get it until I'd been on the farm for 27 years.
I remember that old house. It was pretty comfortable.
I raised my family in that old house.
I remember we had the first closed-in car in the community.
We did that because Dad went to town with me one day. We were going to have a second-hand car, and he wouldn't, and I wouldn't. Well, we wouldn't pay the price they wanted for a second-hand car. So he and Jack went to town on a later day. He could come home, and he went to town on a later day, and he and Jack tooted the horn outside. Oh, I was in the house, and he tooted the horn outside, and I said, "There's a car I couldn't afford."
It was the new car you couldn't afford.
It wasn't a new car we couldn't afford. It was a second-hand one that I thought we couldn't afford.
How much did this car cost?
$900.
Wow, I wish we could get a car for that right now. We bought a second-hand one the other day for $6,000. Did you like the farm?
Yes, I like the farm very much, but we didn't get a new house until the last year we were on the farm, and we didn't have it quite finished when they offered us a job on with the government on the Indian Reserve. From Dad was the boss.
The farm instructor.
Farm instructor, yes.
So I remember that house.
Taking down everything he could, pack them away to take them down to the reserve.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember he sort of unlearned to drive a car there.
Did he? I remember one day he asked for a job on a Saturday, and I said, "Would you like to dust these the doors in the house? They all need dusting." And when he come back, he presented me a bill of 17 doors.
Did he get paid?
No, I don't think so, unless it was his dinner.
Well, I remember growing up there in the community and left to go to work too. And you lived there, and then when I moved out to Vancouver, you and Dad came out there about a year or so later, and you lived there for how long?
5 years.
5 years, and then you packed up and went back to Portage.
Yes, because Dad was homesick.
Do you remember the day that we packed up Wes and in the little go-kart and went down to that little park to hear Bing Crosby sing?
Yes, I remember that, but you're missing something before that. I came out and stayed with you a whole month when Wes was first born.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, you stayed with me when Jim was born, too.
Did I?
Well, you were over there to help me.
I was there, I know, when Jim was born, I had Wes, take care of. And you'd left some pickles ready for the jars, and I had to put them in the jars. And every time a pickle would slip and not hit the jar, and on the floor instead, Wes, he was scrabbling for it and eating it as fast as he could.
He's a pickle puss now too. Maybe that's why. Now, you mentioned that there were things that you had been reading in the Bible that your church did not practice.
Well, evidently our church, my son and grandson tells me, is a breakaway from the Latter-day Saints. So I don't just remember what they were. Can you tell me?
Well, you said that you read where there were supposed to be prophets and apostles in the true church.
Yes, we didn't have them.
And you mentioned that they didn't have the elders come to heal the sick.
No.
And a few things like that. Well, did you find the answer in the Mormon church?
Oh, yes, I found that. But I didn't know it was there until I studied it. And had somebody else come and study with us.
Sort of teach you about it, eh? How old were you when you joined the church?
I was 15.
How old were you when you joined the Mormon church?
Oh, now you got me. 80? Oh, yes, I was 80.
That's right. Do you remember who baptized you?
Don Hillyer.
Right. Who's he?
My grandson.
Right. How many children did you have?
Me, I had 3. Art, Louise, and Jack.
You know how many grandchildren you have?
No, I can't count them.
I'm kind of losing track myself. I think there'll be 17 this year.
Oh, is that right?
So that means I have 17, so you'll have 17 great-grandchildren this year.
Well, I might have more than that if you count Jack's.
I'm counting Jack's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, there'll be another one then. No, great-grandchildren I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Grandma, I kind of got sidetracked back there ways. Now, we started out by asking, or didn't start out, but we asked the question, how did Uncle Sam die? I don't remember when he died, but I know he died in that bad flu.
Well, we children were all kept in touch with each other after we came from the home, you know. And so he knew where I was, and he started out, he was quite a young man then, he started out to find me. And he knew my address, so he thrashed his way up through the states from Michigan. And when he got to Dakota, he got into some of Dakota's bad water, and he arrived in Manitoba with a case of typhoid fever, and he went out home with me after church to stay, and the man hired him for the field work. And then he went to Winnipeg, and when he went to Winnipeg, he come back the next day, and he says, "What are you keeping that guy around here for?" And to his wife, and she says, "He's sick." Well, he says, "Get him to town and find a doctor for him." I said, "Well, if there's no room for him here, there's no room for me either." He says, "You'll stay till your time's up," which was a month. And my brother went into the hospital with bad case of typhoid fever, and he stayed in the hospital for that into the winter. And then Uncle John Kitson, my adopted mother's second son, he took him in and kept him all winter, and then got him a job in the spring. So my trip home to Michigan was all through there.
Well, he got married to Aunt Clara later on, and they had a baby, and the baby was about 2 years old, I think, in 1919 when that bad flu broke out.
And my brother died of the flu, and they buried them both in the same coffin.
Both of who?
Both of the flu.
The baby and him.
Yes.
Well, that was kind of sad, and a lot of people died with the flu in 1919.
I think that woman cried all summer.
Aunt Clara?
Yes, that was the summer we built our barn. And she came out, she helped me for a month with, to help feed the men, you know, and take care of all of the things. And she'd sit she had the baby.
Oh yeah, she had John after they died.
She was pretty near there, and she didn't get it. I done the baby.
Mom, you had two of us kids at home, didn't you?
Yes, the first two.
The first two?
The first two.
Uh-huh. And
I was too nervous to go to a doctor, so I got a lady I had been working for in Portage to go to the doctor for me, and she gave me my advice. But somehow or other I didn't keep him informed well enough, and I come to a bad end when we called him when it was time for Art to be born. He got stuck in the mud coming out, and so we had to get a couple of old ladies in to see to it. And I had a bad case of
toxemia. You had toxemia, I think you told me once.
Toxemia.
It's a poison in your system.
All right, we'll call it that. I never called it that. And then you came along. 55 minutes it took for you to arrive in the world all safe and sound. Nothing happened.
Who delivered me?
Mrs. Bunnage.
You knew her for a long number of years.
I sure did, but she had had midwives to herself, so she knew how to go about things. And
how come you didn't get to the hospital with me?
How could I get to the hospital in 55 minutes? We live 20 miles out or 15 miles out.
Well, that's right. Car